Welcome back to Culture Makers. So glad that you are here. I'm Vince Parker. This is James Meehan.
Hello.
And it's Thanksgiving week.
Come on.
And there's a lot happening in the world.
Yep.
And we're just going to talk about it. No, here's the deal. Let's help everyone out.
Okay.
Everyone has an opinion about something.
Yep.
What do you do at Thanksgiving dinner when people want to talk about the opinion? Like, for instance, what if someone says, hey, how do you feel about that new Adele album? And you say, oh, no.
Yep.
What do? Because Adele just dropped a new album.
This is true. She did. So, Thanksgiving is happening. And usually at Thanksgiving, we have all of those family members that maybe we don't talk to as much. There's always going to be that crazy uncle with really strong opinions.
Why is it always an uncle and not an aunt?
Well, there's the aunt too. First, we start with the uncle. Okay. Because that's like the most common stereotype. Who's going to have some really crazy opinions. Then you've probably also got an aunt with similarly crazy, but in a different extreme.
But at least the aunt can cook.
Right, and then there's that cousin that you haven't seen in months, and they're going to show up, and they're going to be like a totally different person.
Right.
And they're going to have their opinions. And at some point in this meal, something crazy might happen. Stuffing might go flying. And the question becomes, how do we as followers of Jesus stay centered throughout of it and bring peace to what could otherwise be a chaotic meal? Vince, how do we do that? See what I did? I flipped the question back on you.
You did. That's how you do it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Is that what you do all the time?
Well,
are you even a Thanksgiving person? Or like you like a turkey?
For me, it's all the side dishes. I am super a fan of my mom's green bean casserole.
Okay, that's a classic.
Dude, it is so good. And I could literally just eat that all
Do you have her make
long.
extra so you can take it home? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, so my favorite Thanksgiving thing is not actually the Thanksgiving meal, but leftover sandwiches where we literally just toast 2 pieces of bread and we stick everything in between those 2 pieces of bread, like mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey, cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole. Just put all of it on there between these 2 pieces of bread, and that is my favorite thing about Thanksgiving. Not the original meal, that's good.
How thick of a sandwich is this? We talking like this?
Dude, you get that thing, it's thick with 2 C's. Okay. That's how thick.
Okay. All right. So we've been talking about what's controversial, what's not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to list some topics.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw out my hot take.
No, just a general response on all these topics. Because, for instance, did you see the LeBron Isaiah Stewart thing?
I did, as a matter of fact.
Would you call that a case of mistaken basketball? It kind of happens when you box someone out, or like was Isaiah justified? Like how does that happen? Like how if that happened to you, would you go out to LeBron like that?
I hope I wouldn't.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, LeBron's like 7 feet tall.
But Isaiah's like 7 foot tall too.
Okay, you didn't ask if I was Isaiah. You said if I would.
Okay.
So I wouldn't, because number one, LeBron's way bigger than me. Number two, I'm a Christian, and I think the right response in those moments is to do what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount.
Turn the other cheek?
Which is turn the other cheek.
Some people have a problem with that. Like the biggest thing they have a problem with the Bible is to turn the other cheek.
Right. Well, and that's the thing that's interesting is I think a lot of people actually misunderstand what Jesus is saying. I think what people think Jesus is saying is, hey, if you get hit, just like go belly up and let people keep hitting you.
Okay.
And that's not exactly what Jesus is saying. What Jesus is saying is the strongest thing you can do, the best way that you can hold on to your dignity in those situations is to practice nonviolence, because it's actually really easy to react angrily. For example, if you've got 2 2-year-olds that are fighting over a toy and one of the 2-year-olds pushes the other 2-year-old, what is the other one going to do? They're going to fight back. They're going to start throwing punches. They're going to try to tackle the other kid. Why? Because that's what kids do. They react based off of their...
Throw punches and tackle.
Yes. Okay. But more specifically, they react based off of their emotions in the moment. But as followers of Jesus, what we're called to do is actually something a little bit different. Now, let me be very clear. In that moment, Isaiah getting hit by a loose elbow that could have been accidental. Either way, it's professional sports. They're not holding back. They're going hard in the paint. It could have been totally accidental. Right. We don't know, and so I'm not going to try to assume. But the elbow caused him to literally be gushing blood out of his eye.
There was so much blood.
And so for him to react the way that he did, with the heat of the moment, being angry, knowing that because of this injury, he might be out for the rest of the game, I don't blame him for being upset and reacting emotionally. That's the very human thing to do. And this is the thing that's so difficult about Christianity, is what Jesus invites us to do is to respond in ways that are not natural to us. And so what I don't want to do is I don't want to sit here and try to cast judgment on LeBron for what could have been an accident.
Right.
I don't want to cast judgment on Isaiah for responding in what is the natural way to respond in that moment. I just want to look at that and say, okay, that was a heated situation. Things got out of hand. I don't think what happened was what anybody wanted. Cool. Let's learn from it. Let's move on.
Right. That's good, because there's a lot of controversial topics that can come up.
Yep.
Lockdown in Europe.
Come on.
Right. Rittenhouse decision.
Right.
The new Taylor Swift album.
Come on. Well, and I think the thing that's so interesting about all of this, Vince, is we literally live in a world where it is so easy to be pulled to the extremes.
Right.
Right. Like if you're somebody who tends to lean more conservatively politically, then you're going to be all for the fact that Rittenhouse was found not guilty. You're going to be super against the European lockdowns. But if you're somebody who leans more progressive politically, you're going to be really upset that Rittenhouse was found not guilty. And you're going to probably be for the lockdowns in Europe. And what's interesting is that no matter where you fall on that spectrum, we are all human beings made in the image of God.
Yep.
And all of us want what's best for others and for our world. The problem is that we disagree on how to bring about that best that we want. And this is why when I'm in those types of conversations, what I try really hard to do is focus on the humanity of the other person and start with what we agree on. So regardless of if you are pro or against lockdowns, all of us want to see less people be affected, be hospitalized, and be killed by the coronavirus. Now, we might disagree on what the best solution is for that, but we can agree that we don't like people getting sick. So let's start there. Then, once we start there, we can move on to, man, what's the best strategy for combating this disease that has ravaged our world? We all agree that we do not want people to be able to commit acts of violence against others and not be held accountable. And so maybe for you, you are utterly convinced that Rittenhouse is guilty and should be in jail. Maybe for you, you think that he was acting in self-defense and that the jury made the right call. The reality is that we weren't there. We weren't making the decisions. And so instead of allowing what could be a really divisive thing to drive us further apart, let's focus on what we agree about. And the fact that, you know what, here's what we all want. We want human beings to live in peace. We want people to be able to come together and protest in a way that brings us together and brings about positive change and doesn't potentially lead to crazy things like this taking place. And so what I want to do in those conversations is start with what we agree on and be okay with the fact that people are going to disagree with me. I don't agree with anybody on everything, right? Like you and I agree on a lot of things, but we also disagree on other things.
This is where my mind goes. Last year, a lot of people's Thanksgivings were not together.
Right.
So there's a lot of family they haven't actually seen together in person.
Oh, dude, so that's a year's worth of pent-up frustration.
Right? Go in prepared not to have a difficult conversation or to defend your point, but to be loving towards Christ.
That's good, man.
Right? Because there might be someone who disagrees with you, and you want to have a peaceful Thanksgiving. We want you to have a happy Thanksgiving. But the goal is not to go in and not be another 2 years before you talk to someone.
Yep.
And it's really hard to get someone to even see your point, no matter what your point is, if all you do is yell and scream at them.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, our prayer is this, is that you have a great Thanksgiving.
Come on.
And that family are engaging and loving and talking about all the good things. But if some of these things come up, how are you prepared?
That's good.
So again, I don't mean like prepare and go get your facts ready. Right? Like I don't mean go get your facts ready.
Come on, bro, I'm going to print out a piece of paper with all the statistics.
Yeah. Or go in and say, hey, this is how I'm going to be loving.
Come on.
Right? This is how I'm going to be loving. And for some of us, that might even mean like, hey, I respect what you have to say, but I disagree and I can't handle this conversation right now, so I'm going to walk away.
Sure. Absolutely.
So it doesn't mean you're saying I don't like you or I don't love you, but in this holiday spirit of being thankful for people, let's not blow up our families at Thanksgiving.
Come on.
So let's shift gears real quick because that was just crazy. Did you watch the AMAs last night?
Of course not.
Of course not. Let's just move on. Let's get to some student questions. This name is really awesome. It makes me think you should name your next child this. Anonymous Banana.
Definitely won't.
Which part? The anonymous or the banana part?
Both. Will not name my child either of those things. Hey, no offense to you. If that's your legal name, it's beautiful. I don't want to take it. I want you to be able to stand out and be unique.
James, how do you end a relationship with someone who isn't having a positive impact on you and you fear is going down the wrong path? How do you do so without being rude?
Oh, easy. Do what Taylor Swift would do and just write a whole bunch of songs about him.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. Listen. That was a joke, okay?
Or was it?
No, that's not what you should do. That's not what you should do. All right, hit me with that question again. This is a really good question.
How do you end a relationship with someone who isn't having a positive impact on you and you fear is going down the wrong path despite what you warned them of? How do you do so without being rude?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So my approach to these types of relationships is I would rather create distance than end it. And what I mean by that is when we are doing life with people, if we're doing it right, then we will be in relationships with people that we disagree with, who do things that we don't approve of, and who sometimes we have to have the hard conversation and say, hey, what you're doing is hurting you. What you're doing is hurting others. And because I love you, man, I just want to have this conversation with you. And if people don't respond to that and they continue to do those things, then we've got to figure out, how do I wisely be in relationship with this person in a way that I can still be there for them when they need me, but I'm not potentially getting more and more frustrated with them because they're doing something I don't agree with, or I'm not cutting them out of my life so that now what used to be a really great relationship is entirely gone. So for example, my wife has recently been reaching out to people that she used to be in relationship with back when she was a teenager, that because of our lives taking different paths, she just hasn't talked to in years.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, unfortunately for some of these friends, they have been pushed aside by a lot of their previous friend group that they had. And my wife really felt convicted by the fact that, man, like, I could have been a better friend to them during that time. And even though we didn't agree on everything, the fact that I wasn't there for them, like, I wish I could have been. And so let me just reconnect. And so she recently had lunch with a friend that she hadn't talked to in a long time. And it was this really beautiful conversation. But she was able to have this great conversation because even though she created distance, she didn't completely cut things off and burn the bridge so that there wasn't the future potential for a relationship. And so for you, as you're navigating this with your friend, here's what I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you to figure out, how do you create distance without cutting everything off? And that might just be you saying, hey, I really love you and care about you, but what I'm noticing is that each of us are going in two different directions. And where you're going, because of my faith in Jesus, I can't follow you there. But I still want to be your friend. I still want to be a part of your life. And so I just want you to know that I would love for us to still be friends, still be able to reach out to each other when we need to. But when you're going to these events with these people, it puts me in a place where I'm having to choose things that I don't think are what God wants for me. And I just can't go to those places with you. I still want to be friends, but I just want to make sure that we do this in a way where I don't get upset with you because we're being put in these situations, and you don't feel like I'm judging you because I'm not choosing to do some of the things that you are doing. And so I think that's the difficult part, is that it's going to require a lot of thought, a lot of care, and some conversations. Because the easy thing to do is to just like ghost them and just stop responding to them. But I don't think the easy thing is usually the right thing.
It sounds like you're saying like, hey, that's cool that you do that,
right?
But I'm choosing not to do that,
right?
Oh, you want to go to a Marvel movie? Oh yeah, I like Marvel movies. Oh, hey, you want to go do something destructive? Oh yeah, I'm in a place in my life where I can't destroy stuff.
Yep.
Right? Where you're just, and I'm like, hey man, you bad, evil, sorry, sucker, you got to destroy. We shouldn't be like that, right?
Yeah, please don't.
Please don't.
Yeah, Romans chapter 2, I think it's verse 6. The Apostle Paul says that it's God's kindness that leads to repentance. And so
we should be kind.
Yeah, because that's what God does. I think our temptation is to be condemning, but God calls us to be kind. And I think that's the thing that we want to navigate, is how can I be as kind as I can to this person, even though our lives are going in two different directions. Right. And if all I do is heap condemnation on them for what they're doing or not doing, and it doesn't even have to be what we say, it can be what we don't say. Yep. It can be the fact that we just completely cut that person out altogether. And at the end of the day, I don't think that that's what's best for them, for you, or for anybody else.
Okay, very good. Abigail, is that a name you would name a child?
I totally just burped.
Okay, well, Abigail's question is, how do you overcome addiction? She's been told to give it to God, but how do you do that?
It's a great question. So I would say, yes, give it to God, and also surround yourself with great people, and also get professional help.
Come on, somebody.
So there's this really interesting passage. I think it's in 1 Timothy, where Paul is writing to Timothy, and he tells him, hey, because of your stomach issues, you should add a little bit of wine to your water.
Okay.
Because apparently that's going to help with his stomach problems. I don't know. But I like to point to that because what Paul's doing is he's offering a really practical solution to Timothy's challenges. And so sometimes if we're not careful, we can either overemphasize prayer to where we forget everything else, or we can underemphasize prayer to where we don't pray at all. And so for you, Abigail, as you're trying to find freedom from this addiction, I would say yes, pray and ask God to give you the strength to overcome this addiction. And find people that can be there in your life to support you, to be there to give you encouragement when you're feeling down, to hold you accountable when you are wanting to do things that you know you shouldn't do. Like, that's the beauty of something like AA.
Right.
Everybody who's trying to overcome their addiction to alcoholism has a sponsor. They've got somebody that's there with them. And they show up to these meetings where they're surrounded by other people going on this journey of recovery together. And seek professional help, because the reality is that addictions do weird things to our brains that rewire the way that we think, that makes it easier and easier to keep going back to that addiction instead of overcoming it. And this is why it's so helpful that there are people who are trained counselors and professionals that we can come alongside, and they can coach us through this process to overcome something that honestly is really, really difficult to do on our own.
That's awesome, James. I don't know about you, man, but I want you to have a happy Thanksgiving. Or Merry Thanksgiving, as some people are saying. Like,
is that a thing that people do?
Yeah, someone was like, man, technically it's Christmas. They like, like all of November's Christmas.
Gosh, bro. You see this eye roll right here? Listen, give the devil his day.
Whoa.
Okay? Here's what I mean by that.
What?
Y'all people.
What?
Setting up
y'all
for, no, hold
you
on.
can't say y'all, James. You can't say y'all people.
Why not? Dude, I'm from Oklahoma. That's what we say.
I'm apologizing.
No, time out. Let me finish. Let me finish.
So
Here's
sorry.
the deal. These people.
So sorry. Yes, these people.
Not y'all people.
You can't say y'all people or these people. Sorry for James.
When people try to decorate for Christmas before Halloween, offensive. When they do it before Thanksgiving, offensive. Give the devil his day. He gets 2 days a year, Halloween and Black Friday. Let him have those days, and then we can celebrate Christmas.
Hey, listen, I ain't know what that means. We love y'all. We're so glad you're here. Comment, ask questions. I'm so
Ask
confused.
questions. You want to know why Black Friday is the devil's day? Put it in the comments. I'll tell you.
Wow. Hey, much love. We've had a lot of fun. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll see y'all later.